I'm Jess Stuart. I'm an author, a coach and a speaker, and I help empower women to be the best that they can be. As part of that, there's stuff that we're really good at, and then there's challenges, I guess, that we need to overcome. So it kind of covers the whole span of how do we build resilience, look after ourselves, how do we be the best we can be, but without burning out in the process. So I had a career in human resources. I was in England, busy working my way up the human resource ladder, trying to be successful. And that was at a time in my life where I thought, this isn't really working. I've got everything and my life looks like success from the outside, but I don't feel it on the inside. Why is that? My passion has always been in personal development and seeing people grow. And the irony that the more I grew in my HR role, the further removed from that I became. My second book is much more aimed at empowering women and some of this superwoman complex that we see at play, where we don't always feel that we're measuring up to this vision of perfection we put upon ourselves in terms of our own expectations. Being in touch with who we are and what we want to bring to the world and what we stand for informs all of the decisions that we make in life. And it leads to a happier life because it's a life that lives in alignment and in accordance with who we are as a person and what we believe in and our passions and our values as well. Growing up, I always wanted to fit in, and I think as women we do have this need to feel like we fit in and be liked and please everybody around us. I was hung up when I was in the corporate career about not having a degree, and the further I climbed the ladder, I'd be surrounded by people with many degrees in some cases, and I'd feel that that meant I wasn't deserved of that place and not as clever as those around me. And the same thing happened when I started to speak publicly and write books. Who am I to be an expert in this? But it was when I wrote Like a Girl. There's a chapter in there on self-doubt, and I talk about imposter syndrome as part of that. And it's the one thing since the book was released that everybody has been asking me to talk about. And I suddenly realised, wow, this is trending. This is something that's resonating with people. It's this fear of being exposed as a fraud, and you might feel like one of these days they're going to find out that I don't know as much as they think I do, and that we downplay our successes and wave away our achievements. And it is the domain of high achievers, which is why so many of us feel we're striving and not quite making it. And I quickly realised that there were so many women out there with a message to share, and creating events like this provided a platform for that to happen. The things for me that always makes this worthwhile and my why is when you get people come to you afterwards and say, this has changed my life.
I'm just really feeling loved right now. Yeah, I'm feeling really special right now.
One thing in particular that kind of struck me was when I left my career and left that behind to have children, I struggled with that and grieved for all of the things that I left behind and had to redefine myself. So I think that a lot of women I know who have chosen that path, I think it would be really good just to be reminded of the choices you've made and that you're not defined by your career necessarily. It's not the car, it's not the money, it's, you know, you can be defined by the things that you're achieving.
I'm a solopreneur, so I spend a lot of time on my own, and so to have that reminder that even though I work on my own, I need to go out there and make connections with people, that the real importance of that was a real reminder to do that.
There's something to be said about being reminded of these things again, you know, because as we go back into our normal daily lives and those things take over again, you kind of have a tendency to go back to old habits.
I've driven down from Palmerston North, so I wanted to make sure that it was going to be worthwhile, and it definitely has been.
I would recommend it to everybody at work. Yeah, definitely.
I'm always a bit worried that, will we still appeal to the younger generation in the same way? And it's really nice when you do, and those young girls come up to you afterwards, because the world is so different now, and it's so much harder, I think, particularly for young girls, growing up with the impacts of social media and technology. The same issues that we struggled with around self-love and image and all of that stuff is the same for our young girls, but almost under a microscope. So it's great to hear that it's resonated for them and it's given them things to think about.